and welcome to the Wake.Show. My name is Chris Fisher, and if I sound extra sexy today, it's because, it's because I'm hungover, and this is my this is my hungover voice, not my sexy voice. Let's get to that right now, and we get to stuff you should know. We got that up there. We'll run that down that here in a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and say good morning to Samantha as well. How are you, Samantha?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It's nice to hear you today. It's nice that the mics are working the way they're supposed to be.
I know.
That was 100% my fault.
It's okay.
All right. Samantha's on social media, making sure that she's sharing. So thank you so much for those of you that do. Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on. We're not live yet.
I was wondering because I was looking on the page and I'm like, nothing's up yet.
Yeah, I didn't feel any. Man, I'm on the ball. I think we'll just keep going. And for those of you that are on Periscope right now and whatever, hold on a second. I apologize, but immigrants warned about Florida. Oh, I got to change that one. Immigrants warned. We'll just put it like that. What? How did that just happen like that? Come on, you can do this. This is where I try not to. And I'm sorry to all the other platforms, by the way, YouTube and Periscope and Mixler. All right, let's go. Hi, and welcome to the Wake.Show. How's everybody doing? Good. Well, now that we are actually on live, we can start the show. And if I sound if I sound extra sexy today, I completely understand. It's my hangover voice, my drunk voice. And last night was Park and Rec, Valentine's Day, and I was so happy, man. I was so happy with myself. Not happy. I mean, I was just. Traditionally, when it comes to big events like Valentine's Day, anniversaries, and stuff like that, I am just historically awful, and I don't know why. It's like no matter the harder I try, the harder I will fail. Well, I was very excited that a couple weeks ago, my wife and I had our first wedding anniversary, and I didn't screw it up. She was actually happy. I think she even had her eyes started to well up a little bit. But that wasn't going to last long because 10 days later, I messed up. Now, here's the thing. I didn't really mess up because I got her flowers and a card and candy. All right. And we were going to keep it simple like that. No big deal. However, last night, I went to Park and Rec, and someone had to drive me home. It was a big night out there, and people just started bringing up shots, and instead of going, no, I was like, yeah, I'm having a great time, boom, boom. And I really am appreciative to and appreciate Ryan and Andrew for taking care of me last night and making sure that I got home, but I messed up big time. And I'm not happy about it. I am very fortunate though that I got people looking out for me, and so like I said, I made it home okay, and I did not drive. And the night got away from me. All right, we got a lot to get to today. Really depressing news. Well, let's before we get into this school shooting where 17 people lost their lives, we're going to learn a little bit more about or what we think we know about the shooter. Let's take the attention off of this for just a second and turn to social media. Samantha, how are you this morning?
I'm great.
All right, well, let me turn up your microphone. How was
Hello.
All right, how was your Valentine's Day? Did your man mess up at all, or did you mess up at all?
I don't think so. We went to Red Lobster. Everyone was annoyed there because what do you expect at a Red Lobster?
Everybody was annoyed at
the Red Lobster because the servers were really swamped, understandably so. So my boyfriend and I were just hanging out. We knew that it was going to be like that, but I guess everyone else didn't understand that Red Lobster doesn't mean that you get white table service and like one-on-one and all that stuff.
Right.
So everyone was annoyed around us, complaining to the waitresses, but we had a great meal.
Okay.
Lobster Fest. It was great.
All right. So you didn't let the old people around you ruin your night.
No.
All right. Good for you
Had
guys.
some wine. Went to bed. It was great.
All right. Did you guys do any gifts or anything like that?
Yes. He got me flowers and chocolate.
Oh, perfect.
Valentine's Day is not like a huge thing for us. So.
I'm curious. You guys are 21 years old, so obviously, right there in the middle of that millennial demographic. I'm not asking you to speak for all millennials, but how do you guys view Valentine's Day?
We don't personally think that it's like a huge deal, but I do see a lot of couples our age who are very into it, especially people who just start dating. We've been together for a while, so
screw him.
Yeah, there you go. Screw him. But yeah, we were totally cool with just going to get some lobster, drinking some wine, watching Netflix, and going to bed. And I can tell that that's definitely something that a lot of people feel our age. But a lot of people also want to go to a really fancy dinner, and that's cool.
All right, well, no, tell me about the cheddar biscuits, and speak slowly when you're describing them.
Oh my God, so good. We got tons to take home. Amazing.
It has been a long time. But, all right. Well, thank you very much for that lighthearted note before we get into the awful news of the day. And, one of the things that Samantha's doing, or the main thing that she's doing with the Wake.Show, is social media. They get the social media up and running, as soon as we go on the air every single day. So I'm giving her the stories that I'm going to cover, and she's like, "God, it's so depressing." I'm like, "Oh, you're right. I got to mix in some other things here," so I had to change some things up. But we will start right here with what we know so far. This is coming from ABC Action News. Nicholas Cruz. What we know so far about this kid. Is it bad of me? It is. It is. Because it's not fair. Because you just look at him and you go, you should have just been able to look at him and go, "There's something wrong with that kid." But that's not fair at all. That is messed up. All right, here's what we think we know about this guy. Coming out of Parkland, Florida. Authorities are scouring social media for clues to why Nicholas Cruz allegedly opened fire outside the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on Wednesday, killing 17. Jeez. On Thursday morning, he was booked into the Broward County Jail and faces 17 counts of premeditated murder. On Wednesday, after the shooting, Cruz was able to leave the school after the shooting by blending in with other students who were trying to escape, but he was apprehended shortly thereafter. According to the Broward County Sheriff, Scott Israel, investigators have already found some disturbing content that could have provided warning signs. Quote, "We've already begun to dissect his websites and things on social media that he was on, and some of the things that have come to mind are very, very disturbing." Cruz, 19, was a former student who was expelled, according to Israel, for unspecified disciplinary actions. So he was so he's been holding on to some shit, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the motive. What the motive is. They're still trying to figure that out, I guess. Were you around social media yesterday, Sam, when this was going down?
Yeah.
You were here. I would imagine you guys were here at the office, right?
We were. Yes, we were monitoring all the websites.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to ask you something too, as a millennial, because now I want you to speak for all millennials. Well, the school shooting phenomenon. I don't know if it kicked off with Columbine, but it seemed to be more of a 2000s kind of a thing. Now, granted, mass shootings still were around when I was young in the 80s, and it was, I don't know if you guys will jog your memory here, but remember postal. That's where the term going postal comes from, for all those shootings in the 90s or the 80s and early 90s. So you've grown up in a time where these shootings are like a part of life. So as this is happening, do you feel it? Do you go, "Holy crap, I can't believe this is happening again"? Or you're desensitized to it and it just kind of rolls off your back.
Personally, I get very deeply disturbed by this topic in particular, and I know that can be something broader because there are a lot of shootings that do happen, unfortunately, in other places like movie theaters or shopping malls. But school shootings for me really bother me. And I think it's because I have a degree of anxiety, and I had it even when I was in school. Whenever that would happen, I would go to school the next day or go to my university the next day and be like, okay, I'm in a big lecture hall. Something like this just happened. Something like this can happen again. And I went to a school where it was an open campus, a big college university open campus where people could walk on, and that we would sometimes get alerts like that where there was, at one point I was in a lecture hall and we all got texts like, oh, this could be an active shooter situation. And luckily it wasn't, but that's something that's very, very real for all of our generation. And I think that's why I feel it so deeply. And even now that I'm out of school, it doesn't exclude the fact that if I go to a mall or a movie theater, that could still happen. So I think that's why it affects me so deeply. But I do talk to people who are desensitized at this point.
That is interesting. For people of, that are my age, we never had that fear. We never had that thought in our head going into school going, holy crap, where are all my exits? We never had that, but you grew up in that world. Mm-hmm. So you guys are eyeballing the exits when you were walking into an auditorium or a school.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like I have a little bit more anxiety towards the issue just in general than a lot of people do my age. But I know that that's definitely something that, like something like that, if we do get a lot of alerts or text messages or something happens and then we go to school the next day, there's kind of a feeling of disturbedness. I know that's not a word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Just going to the lecture halls, walking around campus, because anything can happen. And it's something that does happen a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah. Back to this guy. Israel said Cruz entered the school on Wednesday afternoon with one AR-15 rifle and multiple magazines. The victims, 12 within the building, 2 outside the building, 1 on a nearby road, and 2 who succumbed to injuries at the hospital, included both students and teachers. There is still no clear motive for the shooting, but a portrait of the suspect is starting to emerge. Again, this is coming from ABC Action News. An ex-classmate and former teacher told ABC News that before Cruz was expelled from school, he was barred from carrying a backpack on campus. The classmate said the rule was put in place after the school found bullet fragments in his bag after a fight with another student. Joshua Charo, who went to school at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, said he knew Cruz but hasn't spoken to him since he was expelled in relation to the incident involving the fight. He said Cruz would regularly talk about shooting rats with a BB gun and was part of a very small group of friends. Fernando Santos, a friend of Cruz, who spoke to ABC News through Instagram, said the alleged shooter was picked on in his first few years of school. Quote, I know he had his own problems, but I never thought he would be capable of this. I stopped seeing him before his mom passed away because I ended up moving to Sunrise, but we would still contact each other every other day. Quote, I did know he really liked guns a lot, but I didn't think he would cause such a tragedy. A family member of the suspect said that Cruz was adopted as an infant by Roger and Linda Cruz, both of whom now are deceased. His adopted mother died last year of the flu. Jeez.
I know. That's crazy.
I think that was in November. She was otherwise healthy before checking into a clinic in November, being rushed to the hospital and later dying of pneumonia. That is so sad. Cruz's father died of a heart attack in 2005 when he was still a young child. A student who told ABC News that he participated in junior ROTC with Cruz described him as a psycho, quote unquote. Whoa. Oh, no. Cruz was a well-known weapons enthusiast, the student said, who once tried to sell knives to a classmate. All right. So that's what we know about this, and it's just sad. It's just a sad, sad tragedy. 17 lives gone, 17 families affected, and then all the people that knew them and cared for them and loved them. That is just rough. That's rough. I know that there will be the commentary on cable news today and on AM radio about gun control and whatnot. But you guys go ahead and have that conversation. I don't. It's right now. It's a time for mourning. All right, let's get by. Okay. All right, we got past that one. Now let's switch it up a little bit, okay? Because there is no place to go but up from there, I think. All right, I want to get your thoughts on this one too. I like having a millennial in here. This is nice. I like because this is a different age now. All right, so here's the headline that I want to go to now. It's radio host loses job after sexual comments on teen Olympian. I made these same comments years ago about somebody else. But my show partner actually at the time, Seth, would make these comments more than I would, but we'd still have fun with him. And we'd make the comments about the Olsen twins when they were like 17 years old. There was a countdown clock that they're going to turn 18. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God, that is just so perverted. And something that is not, isn't going to fly today, which is exactly what happened right here. San Francisco Bay Area radio station has fired one of its hosts for sexual comments he made about 17-year-old Olympic snowboarder Chloe Kim. Now, she is going to be 18 in April. So if were making these comments in April, it would be different. But she's 17 right now. All right, so let's get into this here. Program director Jeremiah Crow of KNBR-AM said in a statement on Wednesday that the host Patrick Connor has been fired. On Tuesday, on the Barstool Sports Network on Sirius XM, Connor called Kim fine as hell, along with the more vulgar sexual comments. Then said the countdown is on, talking about Kim's. See, I'm laughing. Should I be fired? Should I be fired right now? I'm laughing at this. It is inappropriate, and if that was my daughter, I'd be pissed. But I guess I'm part of the problem, right, Sam?
I mean, that's so touchy because at the end of the day, she is underage. Right. So they have the justification there, unfortunately.
I know. And
no matter where you look at it, I mean, she's underage.
I know. So I'm curious. I'm going to have to listen to Drew this afternoon and see if because Seth, my old morning show partner and producer, is the executive producer now for Drew Garabo at 102.5 The Bone. I almost said Real Radio 104.1 at 102.5 The Bone, and this kind of stuff was in his wheelhouse back in the day. Now, granted, when he was making these kind of comments, he was only like 20, 21, 22. Yeah. He's not a 40-year-old man or a 50-year-old man, talking about a 17-year-old. So, Connor apologized on Twitter, calling his comments inappropriate. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, without referring directly to Connor, said on Twitter that his network sometimes misses the mark with humor, but crybabies will not dictate its actions. So I heard the audio clip. And it's just a guy. It just sounds like a radio show, and they make a comment about that. A comment that you've heard before on the radio. I'm trying to think of somebody else too. I know there was another. I'm sure the same thing was happening with Britney Spears. I want to say when she first did that "Hit Me Baby One More Time," that first song. I don't think she was 18 yet.
I don't think so. I think she was 17.
Right. Oh, and do you remember the video?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was also what? That was 2002, 2003. That was like way back now. So
you're right, but so you don't think that video? We can't find that video now. We can't go find a pop star who's 16 or 17 that they dress in a little tiny school outfit and have her, dance, do her thing. So you don't think we're going to find that video now?
Oh, I think it's still absolutely out there. And it's still something that happens a lot, almost a lot more because of something like the success of Britney Spears. But at the end of the day, like if they're underage, you're going to be held accountable, and I think you should be to some extent.
So you think this guy should have been? This could have been a teaching moment, like, hey, listen, have the program director come in or something and go, here's what we're going to do. This kind of stuff has been allowed on the radio for a very long time, but it's different times, and we're not going to hypersexualize those people. We're not going to sexualize at all those who are under 18 years old, and we're going to do this. But you think this deserved a firing?
I don't know if it deserved a firing, and that's kind of a tough spot to be put into. I agree that he should have been talked to, but we also don't know if this guy does kind of have that following of people who have been watching him closely, because you know that there are people who do listen who are waiting on something like that and are kind of like, all right, maybe we should take this guy off the air. Or if this company doesn't want to have that type of reputation right now in this day and age of stuff being very touchy, they might just be like, all right, if we can avoid big PR scandals, we just take this guy out.
So I don't know her exact birthday, right? It's in April. Let's say it's April 1st.
Right.
So let's say it's April 2nd. Let's say it's April. Her birthday is April 2nd. All right.
Okay.
So on April 2nd, I can pull up this article, or I can pull her up and go, wow, she's hot. But on April 1st, I got to go, oh, she's adorable. She's cute, right?
Yeah. No, okay. I definitely understand what you're saying. But at that point, yeah, I guess so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if I want to keep my job.
Yeah.
Wait, what job? All right. Enough of that. So I was just going through the comments and talking about Elliot went to. I don't know if I believe him, or actually I do believe him. Elliot says he and his wife went to Chuck E. Cheese for Valentine's Day.
There you go.
That is awesome. I do believe you. But he also said, I've never felt comfortable in a movie theater since Aurora. It's never not on my mind when he's going to the movies.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks. That sucks. But But then when I talk to people in law enforcement, and retired law enforcement and military stuff like that, they don't go into it. Any public place, they always know their exits. To me, that seems weird. To me, that seems like Jason Bourne kind of shit. Where you always know how many people, and that guy over there is doing this, and that guy. But I guess if that's what you're trying to do, then that's what you're trying to do. All right. Can't wait to get to Washington's lock of hair coming up later on in the show. So enough of Chloe Kim there. Enough. Let's get to Stormy Daniels. Stormy. Are you familiar with Stormy Daniels at all there, Sam?
I've heard her name before, okay. And I know what's kind of going on with this whole scandal.
Well, the headline coming from Yahoo News is porn star free to discuss ties with Trump. Stormy Daniels, I've interviewed her a couple times. She's been on, we had her on the show there at 97X. She's come through multiple times. And the interesting thing about Stormy Daniels, and not all porn, because we've had quite a few, porn stars and strippers and whatnot come through. And a lot of them do fit the stereotype, just a hot mess and there's just whatever. But there's also those performers that have come through the studio and they surprise the shit out of you on how intelligent they are, how well spoken, how the business acumen that they have. Whether it's somebody like Stormy Daniels or the old hedgehog there. What the hell's his name? Way before your time. Oh, I can't even think of his name. We've had him on the show a million times. One of the most famous actors or porn stars of all times. A dude, very hairy. Son of a. I can't even think. Hold on. I'm not gonna. I can't let this one go.
I'm glad I don't know.
Porn star hedgehog. Well, he's called Hedgehog because he's so hairy. What the hell's his name? Ron Jeremy. How do I forget that name?
Okay.
How do you ever forget the name of Ron Jeremy? So let's get back to this Stormy Daniels thing. An American porn star who claims to have had an affair with Donald Trump before he became president now feels free to tell her story, her manager said on Wednesday. After Trump's longtime personal lawyer admitted to paying $130,000 to Stormy Daniels, that must have been some good ass. $130,000? Holy smokes. Mr. Trump, you could just go right here on Kennedy and get a massage and a little something for, I don't know how much it runs, but I'm sure it's not $130,000. Everything is off now, and Stormy is going to tell her story, says her manager. Trump's aide and special counsel Michael Cohen has refused to say why he paid Daniels the vast sum, but was not, as he claims, reimbursed by the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign. Trump declined to comment on the issue. The White House has dodged questions about whether allegations of the affair are true, claiming the matter was dealt with during the campaign. It also referred any questions about the payment to Cohen. Vice President Mike Pence described the suggestions of an affair as the latest baseless allegations against the president. Last month, Celebrity Magazine In Touch published a 2011 interview with Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, in which she details having textbook generic sex with Trump. Quote unquote, textbook generic sex. I bet it wasn't textbook generic for him. So I guess what had happened was, I don't know if you know the details of the story or not, Sam, but I guess they met at a golf tournament.
I believe it.
And she even said he was very charming and intelligent, had a great conversation. So I don't know if they made an arrangement like, hey, yeah, I'll bang you for, $10,000 or something like that. Or if they just hit it off and went and, hooked up after that. But allegedly, and this is the suck part about it, allegedly this was right after Melania gave birth to their son Barron.
Ooh, yikes.
I know that's common too. I know that's common. I don't know why. I guess if you start to break it down, I guess you can understand why. But I don't understand why. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I can understand why, but it's still, you would think, even if those urges are that powerful, and she's not in any kind of a mood, you would still in your head go, okay, she just had my baby.
You're about to have
right. She just had my baby. I can go, whatever, take care of myself in the shower or whatever, you got to do. But I don't know. The lawyer said he did nothing wrong. The payment to Ms. Clifford was lawful and was not a campaign contribution, a campaign expenditure by anyone. He declined to say whether Trump was aware of the payment. Watchdog group Common Cause launched legal action saying they have reason to believe that money was an unreported in-kind expenditure because the funds were paid for the purpose of influencing the 2016 presidential election. Okay, so they're claiming that she was paid off so that this wouldn't surface. So he could get, it'd give him a better chance of being president. So we'll see how that lawsuit plays out. The alleged violation of federal campaign finance law undermines the integrity of democracy in the United States, they say. Make America horny again. Daniels has been taking advantage of her newfound notoriety. Last month, she appeared at the Trophy Strip Club in South Carolina as part of the Make America Horny Again tour. A tongue-in-cheek reference to Trump's Make America Great Again campaign slogan. That will also reportedly take her to several other states over the next few months. In a recent appearance in the late-night television show or talk show with Jimmy Kimmel Live, right after Trump delivered the State of the Union address, Daniels deflected questions about the alleged affair and said she had signed a non-disclosure agreement. Quote, you can't say whether you have a non-disclosure agreement, but if you didn't have a non-disclosure agreement, you most certainly could say, I don't have a non-disclosure agreement. Yes. And she goes, you are so smart, Jimmy. Later in the interview, he asked, have you ever made love to someone whose name rhymes with Lonald Lump? She goes, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you, baby. You know what's weird too? Because I was telling you that I've met her before and that she was a really cool, down to earth, smart, a great, conversationalist and all that kind of stuff. And then it's weird because people like Stormy, porn stars, they'll go do stints at, for lack of a better term, a whorehouse. What do you call them? Brothel. Thank you. I knew there was a classier term. I appreciate that, Sam. Like the Bunny Ranch in
Nevada.
Is that in Las Vegas or is that in Reno? I guess it's outside of Las Vegas.
It's
right?
outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I know it's somewhere in Nevada.
Okay. Go do a month there or 3 months or something like that. Hey, come bang me in the month of February. Sign up now. No. Hey, that's good for her. Next up on stuff you should know. Blood test for concussions. Not the biggest news in the world or anything like that. I just thought it was kind of interesting. The FDA on Wednesday approved a long-awaited blood test to detect concussions in people and more quickly identify those with possible brain injuries. So this is huge. It's called the Banyan Brain Trauma Indicator, the BBTI. It's also expected to reduce the number of people exposed to radiation through CAT scans or computed tomography scans that detect brain tissue damage. So this is really cool. If people are suspect or expect that somebody has some brain damage like me, then you'd have to go through the CAT scan, and that's not good for you. You don't want to, you want to minimize your exposure to that kind of radiation. So this is going to help out those. Quote, this is going to change the testing paradigm for suspected cases of concussion. Now, where do you guys think that the NFL is going to end up in 10 years? I can't see it being, like, I feel like in 10 years, football will not look like, it just won't be the same. There's something, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I have a feeling it's going to start in the amateur level, like in the high school level, where all of a sudden you're going to start seeing, I don't know, some major high school that's known for their football program and this and this and this and this that's won, national title after national title. Like all of a sudden something's going to happen at one of those schools and they're going to decide no more football. And then it's just going to, but I don't know, man. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way. And when I say stuff like this, and I don't even know if I really mean it, when I say we in a sense are a warrior culture in America, very much so. Warrior culture, even though we're not at war, when we're not at war, still we're very focused on beating the enemy every single week, right? Every single Friday night. And I don't need to tell you guys, anybody that's been to a high school football game, the kind of passion and emotion that's involved there. But so I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe football is exactly, looks very, very similar 10 years from now. I think this is one of those things that's going into the category of times are changing. We are changing. Our culture's changing. And you're going to have to pry football from the Texans' cold, dead hands. You might be right on that one. Like I said, this goes back to, this is who we are. It's not about, okay, well, football, the concussions and all the injuries and the things that are coming. Let's go ahead and back off and not have kids hit too hard. No, it's the exact opposite. Well, toughen you up. It's so maybe you're right, Elliot. Maybe football doesn't change, but we'll see on that one. I'm not too sure. We'll see. Excited about the Black Panther movie that's coming out. Another story about that today. Tomorrow we'll have Roy back in because I think that's what he's going to see tonight, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But if Wonder Woman proved film goers of all ages and genders would go see a female superhero flick, Black Panther is poised to do the same with an African-American protagonist in a supersuit. I know that they're making a big deal out of this being a black superhero, as well they should. It sucks that we're making it's too bad that we're making a big deal out of it. It's too bad the last action, what do they call these things? Superhero movie like this that had a black guy, I think it was Blade. Now what's her face was Halle Berry was Catwoman.
Right.
But so I do understand why this is part, race is a part of the conversation. But when I'm watching the trailers, when I see the trailers for this movie, I'm like, ooh, I'm not going, oh wow, I can't wait to go see this black movie. It looks good. It looks good, and I don't even see, even though his name is the Black Panther and he's an African king. I don't need, listen, by the way, I'm not trying to all of a sudden paint myself as I'm so not racist that I don't see race. It's just that this movie, I guess, like Wonder Woman, is rising above that kind of a discussion or those discussions. So, and it is setting records so far. Let's get back to this. Has recorded more advanced sales for Black Panther than any other Marvel Studios title by a significant margin, according to AMC Entertainment Holdings. All right. So this is all pre-sale stuff, but they've sold more tickets pre-sale to this than they've ever sold to any other superhero movie. Now, that being said, I don't know. It's only been in recent years that this pre-sale stuff is really, caught on anyway. It's not like, back in the day, people were, hey, you walked up and you bought your damn ticket. And now you're getting it online, you're picking your seat. The purchases extend beyond the typical Thursday night fanboy and include families booking Sunday matinees, Frank said in the interview. In Leawood, the Kansas City suburb where AMC. Here's the thing, man. Again, you don't need to bring this back as, that's great. It's a black, because the movie's got a black protagonist. Man, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. Who cares? I'm sorry. I know why we're having this discussion, and the who cares part. We won't be having this discussion in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. But I guess right now we're still having to have these. Let's see. Immigrants warned about Florida travel as arrests soar. Next up on stuff you should know. I didn't put that in the. I think this is at the point this morning when I was putting together the show that Sam goes, man, that's just so much rotten news, just so much heavy news this morning, and that's why. Out of Miami, more than a dozen advocacy groups issued a warning about traveling in Florida on Wednesday, saying immigration arrests have soared more rapidly in the past year than in any other area of the country. Leaders from immigrants' rights and nonprofit organizations said new cooperation between immigration and customs enforcement and 17 Florida sheriffs is also spreading fear in the state. The travel advisory issued by 15 groups warns immigrants from other states to reconsider Florida trips or be ready to encounter immigration agents at airports, seaports, and bus stations. Quote, "We are taking the step of warning our communities that as the Florida lawmakers, state, local, and federal, do not take steps to push back against the anti-immigrant policies, we do not feel like our communities are safe in the state." The advisory comes as Florida braces for its busy spring break season in March, when its beach resorts and theme parks attract millions of people. The government estimated that more than 4 million travelers from Canada and other countries arrived from January to March in 2017, compared to almost 27 million visitors who came from other states. Next up, what you need some comment? Yeah. I am very when it comes to the immigration debate, I don't have opinions for you. I go back and forth like I do on so many things. I see both sides. I understand it's very complex. Somebody just yesterday or day before I was talking to them, they immediately throw out, "We are a nation of laws. If you're not going to obey the law, then why do we even have any laws?" And but that is way oversimplifying this, because what happens in that moment? You're focused on the immigrant. But here's the thing. To really tackle this discussion, you can't just talk about the immigrants. You have to talk about the businesses, the Americans, who make it very attractive to chance death in the desert to make it here. Okay? So, if you want to start throwing out the "we're a nation of laws" bullshit, all right, then go after corporations. Go after big pharma. You're not going to. This is why when George Bush got in there, the governor of Texas, twice I think he was, if there was somebody who had a grip on this, and even said he was going to tackle this, and then all of a sudden it fizzled out, I have a feeling the reason that it fizzled out is because once he got there, and he goes to tackle this comprehensively, the lobbyists went, "You don't want to do that, Mr. President, because this is how you're going to affect the economy if you try to go down that path. This is what's going to happen." So it is a very interesting discussion. Okay, here's a great one. Bodie Miller apologizes for linking an Olympic skier's struggles to her marriage. In the midst of the men's downhill alpine skiing event Thursday at the Olympics, Bodie Miller wound up apologizing to NBC viewers for something he said during the first run of the women's giant slalom earlier in the day. The six-time medal winner in his first stint as an announcer at the Games had linked the struggles on the slope of Austria's Anna Vieth to the fact that she got married in 2016. 2014 gold medalist in the Super G and a 2015 world champion in that event and the giant slalom, she suffered severe knee injuries that caused her to miss the 2015-2016 season and much of the next. She had just 2 top 3 finishes in the World Cup. As she was coming down the slope in Pyeongchang, NBC announcer Dan Hicks noted that she has not been the same since her injuries. The knee is certainly an issue, Miller replied. I want to point out that she also got married. Not to blame the spouses, but I just want to toss that out there that it could be her husband's fault. What the F? What the F is that, man? Miller's comments immediately drew condemnation online from viewers. I'm sorry, did Bodie Miller just blame the fact that this skier got married for the fact that she's not doing well? Please mansplain a little more. You don't already annoy me enough. Oh my God, my daughter was sitting next to me. Bodie Miller is the worst. NBC Olympics, please get rid of him. I'm sorry. Hicks did not immediately respond to Miller's remarks, but later in the day, as the men's downhill was taking place, the announcer set his partner up for the apology, albeit while claiming that Miller meant well, calling his comments about Veith an ill-advised attempt at a joke. I do apologize. No, it wasn't, man. Don't make shit up. Don't lie. Just apologize. Say, you know, I wasn't thinking, and I know she just got married too, and it just came out. It shouldn't have. I apologize.
On Valentine's Day too.
Yeah, you don't have to go. Oh, I was making a joke. Don't. I hate. Just don't lie to me, man. Just apologize, and we'll forgive you like that. You know. On Valentine's Day, quote, on Valentine's Day, I did not mean to throw spouses under the bus. And I'm going to be hearing it from my wife. I know. And that's probably what it is. He's watching her have some troubles. He's thinking back to a time when he had some troubles. He goes, oh, yeah, I remember why I was having troubles then, because of the relationship I was in. And I wasn't getting the support or whatever the hell. And so then he projected on to that poor woman. Wait, we got to find, let's see, is there any pictures of her? Before we say she's hot, I got to find out how old she is. And see whether or not she's hot or adorable. And all right, well, this brings us to. Oh, I did put immigrants horn there at the bottom. This brings us to my last story of the day. But first, back to Elliot. The question is, why do we need to base these movies on books written 50 years ago, where there's 5 black heroes? Just write something new, Hollywood. Yeah, that is really annoying. But you know the answer to that question, right? It's not about film integrity. Hollywood is a business, and so when they're looking at ways to make money, they know that if they go to something that people already know, even if they've already seen the damn movie, another version of it, they will. As a matter of fact, they'll even make them more likely to go back to see another version of that movie. So that's where we are. But luckily, they all have those smaller studios, and there's smaller studios that are not associated with the bigger studios that are putting out decent movies that I haven't seen in years. But so let's get to George Washington. A lock of Washington's hair discovered at Union College. Look at that. That is George Washington's hair right there, along with a note. Oh, that's my birthday. Look at that. Look at that right there. August 10th. I was not born in 1871. An envelope and strands of George Washington's hair. 6-inch strands of white hair. Okay, so the obvious question is, do we clone them? And the obvious answer is, of course we do. 6-inch strands of white hair looped and tied with a piece of thread, folded into a letter and sealed in an envelope, were tucked into a worn red leather almanac published in 1793 and closed with a metal clasp. The hidden time castle sat unnoticed amid a large archival collection comprising old books and rare manuscripts tightly packed onto shelves there at the library. The hair was found recently during an inventory review. Imagine the archivist's surprise when the strands turned out to be the actual hair. Because if you think about it, it said that's what it was. But, humans are notorious for making shit up, And so, like, for instance, going back to that time period, what's his face, the silversmith, that allegedly, the Paul Revere, right? He was right. He was the silversmith. So there's a lot of silverware out there that has his stamp on it that's out there. You can get. But there's also a lot of forgeries because of who he was. Then later on, people are trying to mimic it and say, oh, I've got, some of Paul Revere's. So anyway, so you're probably thinking the same thing, that somebody puts that in there. It's not really. but it is. The hair was given as a keepsake to James Hamilton, third son of the founding father Alexander Hamilton, and his wife. The almanac also concealed a folded 1804 Schuler family letter. Alexander and Eliza Hamilton popularized in Lin-Manuel Miranda's hip-hop Broadway hit Hamilton, were married in 1780. Did you see that?
Oh, yes, I
did. In New York?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. It's coming to town. Is it next?
It's coming to the Strass, yeah.
And I was talking to my wife about it, and she goes, we don't have a chance. You're gonna have to become a season ticket holder, and then
a year before this.
Right.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it.
I'm sure. I want to see it. All right. So the keepsake Washington locks were later handed down from James A. Hamilton to his granddaughters. They sent the hair and the letter and the envelope off, and he is considered the nation's foremost authority on hair from historical figures. So this is John Resnikoff. He had no doubt of its authenticity. Without DNA, you're never positive, but I believe it's 100% authentic. He is regularly called as an expert witness in legal proceedings regarding... Well, listen, I appreciate your expertise, sir, and you might be right on this one. But you got to run that through the old... Can't you take that down to the Smithsonian? Don't they have just a DNA machine? You can just set it in there and it'll give you a readout in a few seconds. At least they did on bones. Sorry. All right, and that's it for stuff you should know today. That's all I brought to the table. Mainly because I could barely get out of bed this morning.
Can I plug Bake More Music tonight?
You sure can.
Ooh, okay. So Ella Jet and Future Soul are performing tonight at 8:30 p.m. on the Bake More Pies Facebook page, and we can throw up a link on the Wake.Show, or I will throw up a link.
Yeah, that'd be better if you did it.
I got you. But yeah, so come on out and listen through your computer, and it should be a great show.
All right, you're gonna be here tonight?
I will be.
Okay, let me pull that up here for the folks to see. There it is. So, don't miss out. That is tonight, 8:30, streaming live through the Bake More Pies. And I will be at a gig, so I won't even be around to... so if you can remember, please go ahead. Yeah, put it on the Wake.Show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other ones, too, Fisher the Man. So, Ella Jet and Future Soul on Facebook Live is part of Bake More Music, powered by Gasparilla Music Festival. Check out blah, 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 blah. There we go. See, interested? I can't go, but I'm going to still say I'm interested. All right. Thank you very much, Samantha.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here, Elliot, and everybody else. Oh, shoot. We were supposed to... Oh, never mind. I don't have my phone. We were supposed to check it. Chris McCarty was going to come in today, but he ended up going on the road. You know, we were talking about how he opened up for Chase Rice. And so that was, last Thursday. Then Friday night, that was in Orlando at the House of Blues. Then Friday night, he was here in Tampa opening up for him. And then they're like, hey, do you want to do open some shows for us? And so he went to Atlanta over the weekend, and I knew he flew out this morning to hook up with him. And we were going to check in with him on the road, but I left my phone at Park and Rec last night. So I wasn't able to contact him this morning. So I'll get my phone back hopefully here in a couple hours and then feel like I'm alive again. So have a great day. I will see you tonight for those of you that are heading out to the beach for our trivia night at Mastery's. That starts at 7 o'clock, 7 to about 8:30. And tonight we have a special trivia night. It's all 8. There's no questions older than 1980. So everything will be like, I feel like it's a radio station from 80s to today. Their favorite trivia questions from the 80s, 90s, and now will be this afternoon or this evening, 7 o'clock at Mastery's. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.